See a deck that we haven't quite seen in our feature matches so far, an Amber Emerald deck, which I'm assuming means we're about to see some.
Heilen wir noch rechtzeitig für den Establishing Shot?
Against, is that Emerald Sapphire or was that Steel?
Yes, sir, wir haben es gerade noch geschafft.
About to find out together, judging by the hand.
Looks like Amethyst Steel to me.
Yep, okay, so that just means it needs to be updated on there, which is no problem at all, but we get to see. We're going to go back to the hands here.
Yeah, and I think this matchup is typically you're reasonably happy as the Amethyst Steel player in this sort of matchup. Traditionally, it's one of those matchups that it's been a little better at beating than some other decks. So the Amber Emerald Dogs deck is really, really capable of going incredibly fast, playing very, very aggressively, but also has some really sort of techie combo style lines that it can take. People tend to just think of it as an aggro deck. It's an incredibly deep and techie deck. If you make one sort of wrong quest decision with it, it could really mess your game plan up. So it's something that I consider to have a very, very high skill ceiling as well, as we see evidenced by the player on the undefeated record.
That is true, and now I want to talk about a couple of cards that I did just see in C's hand just there. We do see the Calhoun come down and also look at the stuff in that hand.
Ja, auch da. A-Tier, also S-Tier Matchup oder B-Tier. Je nachdem.
Over here because I did spot the set 10, the new Mowgli.
Yeah.
Which when you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of their choice. It's essentially a new Ursula.
Yep. Yep, and most of these decks opting to play some combination of the two. Not just a new Ursula, but with Ursula in the format, it's additional Ursulas. As C plays Raja, the new Raja 3-cost 3/4 bodyguard. Just a very, very good bodyguard stat line. It's going to protect the board from that Calhoun.
That is very nice. That's a card I've not actually seen be played in one of these builds yet, at least the ones that I've play tested, so that's quite exciting. Seeing a new card being put in, it is good to have those bodyguards there actually, because, you know, it's nice to have the ladies.
Raja, der totale Standard. Er playt halt bestimmt, sie, er, weiß ich nicht. Jack playt bestimmt auch.
Calhoun's almost like a Nightmare 2-drop for something like
Pluto
with multiple ladies. They're not going to put up much of a fight.
Und so Mickey Amber Champion. Super der gängige Bild. Mit bestimmt gleich auch noch Echtzeit auf Live dann. Circle ist es, ne? Circle.
Raja just as a 3/4 for 3 with bodyguard just really sort of pushes what you could expect for that cost, and just the
statistic
make it way worth including in these decks.
Now we do see that Mowgli come down, which is exactly what we just talked about, but as we well know, Amethyst Steel, outside of a couple of actions like Strength of a Raging Fire, they don't really use an awful lot of actions, so actually it's maybe not the best deck to be utilizing this against.
No, you get very limited windows to remove those. You're going to have to play Mowgli typically very early on in the game. Often as soon as your opponent sees you ink Emerald cards, they're going to start thinking about just putting their Strength of a Raging Fire straight into the Inkwell to avoid Ursula, to avoid Mowgli. So yeah, they're actually, while you might think that it's a deck that does rely on its action-based removal, it's very, very hard, shockingly hard to find a window where you can actually get one out of their hand.
That is true. Okay, so we're getting rid of that bodyguard. So this opens a lot up for Adam now. And then we see the lady gone as well from the Calhoun. That's an extra 2. And then we see the Diablo questing. So actually, that was a pretty good turn for Adam, I'd say, starting to close that gap. But C really pushing up already at 10. Still quite a good board there, ready to quest away, especially if we can get any of those challengers that just add something, because then that lady is going to get the extra lore as well.
Yeah, and this is why Calhoun really shines in this matchup, because if your opponent does say, okay, we're racing, Calhoun does double duty. Pushing you ahead in the lore race while keeping you ahead on board, taking all those good trades that you're offered by your opponent, just sort of aggressively questing. Incredibly sort of warping card in a matchup.
Very much so, and we're seeing another Mowgli come down, and it's going to be the same result as it was last time, I'm afraid. See, there's not that many action cards in, well, at least Adam's build of the deck that we've seen so far. It might help with the Strength of a Raging Fire
bam.
down the line as the game progresses, but right now, It's just about, I think, getting even more quest ability on the
Aber na klar, Adam muss halt versuchen, möglichst schnell zu gewinnen, weil im Late Game, glaube ich, nicht mehr so viel geht dann. Jack wird über kurz oder lang die Devastating Combo sich rauslassen.
Do we see anything?
It's like a Hades to me.
Yep, that is a Hades. We do see 2 Genies and
Ja, eigentlich schon eine saftige Hand.
hidden card at the back, and it is an Elsa.
Aber Jack eben auch schon auf 13 Lore.
That's a very interesting card to consider.
Das geht eigentlich gar nicht, dass Adam da so im Hintertreffen ist. Das habe ich ja gerade gar nicht gesehen. Er ist eigentlich in der Aggressorrolle, aber er ist super behind. Das geht eigentlich gar nicht.
Which they will get because they keep a low number of cards in hand. But the ability to exert their entire board is very, very relevant. It has real advantage and drawback in this matchup. I'm interested to see what Adam chooses to do with this Demona.
And look at that, what a turn from Adam there, because you're right, being able to exert the board with the Demona, having Calhoun's on the board as well, you are sweeping your way to a huge lead when that happens. That being said, C still a bit further ahead on Lore, although slightly on the back foot here with only a single card, but we do see that Lilo come down, quite useful. And of course, Daisy Duck. Now Daisy Duck, still, I'd say one of the best early game cards the game has ever produced.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's very, I've had some amazing conversations about it. It's such an incredibly well-designed card. The drawback is significant enough that you always have to think about it, but the card is statted in such a way where it's still phenomenally good. It's a card that people really struggle to play with, actually. You think just turn it sideways and it's great, but it's very, very nuanced card.
It's very true. We do see another Genie come down here for Adam, and we're seeing a lot.
Ja, jetzt geht's in die andere Richtung.
That is really going.
Aber Jack kann auch schon auf 18 gehen, so eigentlich.
Pretty much neck and neck there, exactly neck and neck there with C.
Yeah, so Adam's had a
Nur jetzt geht's nicht mehr, weil jetzt ist es 2, 5, 6, 7 Storytime für Adam Honeyman.
in addition to his Genies already had in hand. So it looks like a missed Inkable for turn, no Demona, no Exert.
Ist schlecht.
The race is very, very
Ich glaube, Jack wird dann da defeated sein. Weil da lässt sich jetzt auch nichts mehr abtraden. Man kann zwar so den Diablo überfahren. Ah doch, man könnte den Diablo so hauen mit Daisy Duck. Dann wäre man nicht liable, dass Calhoun einen zurückcrackt. Und man könnte dann noch einen Turn leben. Die Frage ist nur, was macht man dann? Weil man kann definitiv dann nicht noch Mowgli oder Lilo erschöpfen, weil man sonst tot ist gegen Calhoun.
Because its effect is that it can recur from the discard at the start of your next turn, but at the cost of its, of the ink, so it still takes 2 ink. Do you think that's a useful thing to have?
Yeah, absolutely, and it plays really, really well with the 7-cost Tramp, which is a real, one of the cornerstones of this Amber Emerald deck. When you play that Tramp, its cost is reduced by your number of characters in play. When you play it, you draw cards equal to the number of characters you have in play, and then discard a load of then discard that many as well. So you use it to dig deep in your deck, find what you need, and then you're happy to just send all your Lilos straight to the discard off the Tramp effect, and then just later on you can recur them for value. Plays really nicely with that card.
It's great synergy, right there, you're absolutely right. And we do see the Calhoun taking down the Mowgli there. In fact, I think that's an entire... Was that an entire board wipe from all the challenges? Yes, I believe it was. And that looks like a scoop.
No live top deck to...
Ja, da konnte man nichts mehr machen. Adam gewählt 1 in Führung.
So that looks like Adam has taken game 1 here at the Wakefield CCQ Round 5 feature match.
And Adam will be breathing a big sigh of relief there, because that turn where he was obviously trying to set up for that Demona would have been very, very good, would have had a nice, easy board wipe while drawing opponent cards. Not ideal. Looked like that was kind of the route he was going down, and then to miss that Inkable. It does happen.
It does.
It can mess your game plan up.
Happens to the best of us. What cards do you really not want to see in this matchup? If you're Adam, the cards that you really are trying to prevent C from playing.
Well, if you're going second, certainly I guess Daisy would be the problematic one cost. Yeah, it's that 4 points of willpower that first and foremost you really, really want to see your own Calhoun. You really want to have a Calhoun from your deck. If you can't find one of those, things become slightly tougher. And if you don't curve out nicely and your opponent opens up with a bunch of daisies, yeah, you could be in trouble. I think overall, Amethyst Steel should feel reasonably comfortable.
It certainly does seem that way. I think there are certain board states you can get with the dog deck that really will just snowball you to a win, but it can be a bit ultra situational. Now we're going to have a quick peek at some of the hands here. That's quite a good...
Yeah, we have
Oh, there's a lot of mulliganing going on.
Yeah, so we see that 7-cost Tramp there, maybe electing to send back some of these higher cost cards, but Tramp's pretty integral to the game plan often.
Sorry, I can't tell which C is mulligan. Oh yeah, it's those three because they were the less likely ones. Actually, that was a really good mulligan for C just there. Is it too late to see? Yes, unfortunately, Adam is hiding the cards from us just there. There's always something worth knowing. I have been thoroughly enjoying casting over this format already today.
Yeah.
It has been exhilarating. We have seen quite a lot of mirror matches, which is still fine because it's nice to actually. You get to witness the real intricacies of the deck, the differences.
Ich bin da anderer Meinung, aber okay.
Top is really down to some essence of luck, but really knowing how to prevent your opponent from doing the things that they need to do.
Yeah. And here in C's hand, we see what can be one of the differentiating cards in different dog builds, which is Emerald Chronomicon. Some builds play this, some builds opt to play Under the Sea, different numbers, there's some Circle of Life, there's a few different variations around, but Emerald Chronomicon against Amethyst Steel in particular is really going to make things complicated for Adam. Once that hits play, we're going to have quite a job on our hands to work out what these players are going to do. It is a card that tends to just cause mass confusion in a game. It really does mess everything up in terms of your challenges that you have open. So I think C will be very happy to see an Emerald Chronomicon and keeping it in the mulligan. Certainly looks like that. And this really, your 1-drop into 2 1-drops into a turn 3 Chronomicon. Very explosive opening.
Incredibly, and like you say, it is the sort of build that I think it's probably one of the more common ones is the Emerald Chronomicon build of the dogs. I think I keep seeing people calling it Emerald Dogicon.
Yep. Or Chroma Dogs.
Chroma Dogs is the other one.
Everyone's got their preference.
Yeah, I quite like it when the community does that. They give it the affection name. But there it is.
There it is.
We see the Emerald Chronomicon coming down. That is going to be very, very interesting to see how Adam continues to play.
And when this comes into play, it really is here to stay in this format. Not a lot of item removal around at all. In the past, some of these Amethyst Steel decks would play cards like Benja when the Sapphire decks were more prominently running game-changing items as well. But right now, there isn't much call to play it, so many of them just have no ways of removing items in their deck.
For those of you who don't know, it is now on your screen. During the opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may return a chosen character to their player's hand. So it means trading during the challenges carries a lot more risk.
Yeah, so crucially this means that as soon as Adam takes his first challenge, C's going to be able to return one of the other characters that was ready to challenge. So it's almost like your number of active challenges each turn is halved, because the first time you challenge in, your opponent, the Dogs player, is then going to be able to return something else that was ready to go. So you really have to think so carefully about your ordering, sequencing, and with a board this wide, it's very tough to find an answer.
Incredibly tough, but look at C's board right now. Admittedly, they're all very low costs, and this is borderline aggro at this point, but this is a really, really strong position for C. Already 8 lore up compared to Adam, who hasn't had a chance to do anything, but we are now going to see Giant Cobra getting rid of that Daisy Duck, a brilliant way of doing that, but because of the Emerald Chronomicon, we get rid of the Calhoun.
Calhoun back to hand.
And that was Adam's, that was a real good one for Adam, because Adam could clear a lot of these and get the lore. So Calhoun is going to come back down, but Calhoun will now always carry a risk.
Yep. Cobra going away as well to the second Chronomicon trigger from the Hook challenge. And this is where you really get to constrain the Amethyst Steel player on their ink. Just keep returning their stuff to hand. So, want to replay it? Sure, fine by me. I'll keep questing.
Klar, dieser Emerald Chronomicon, da kann man damit jetzt schon genug Beatdown machen. Ja, doch, es sieht so aus, ne? 8 Lore. Gibt's schon Lilo im Graveyard? Im Ablagestapel?
This could be quite interesting.
And here you're really seeing the complexity that an Emerald Chronomicon throws on the game. C happy to just deploy more 1-drops, just continue questing, and continue maintaining that pressure on Adam to find really good challenge decisions. And Adam really can't afford to miss sequence at all. If you do something in the wrong order, you might lose one more challenger than you needed for the turn. It's very, very easy for this Chronomicon to put a spanner in the works.
For sure. And then we see that Cheshire Cat doing an untraditional challenge. I'm so used to just seeing the Cheshire Cat moving damage.
But this is very, very smart, because to challenge with the Cheshire Cat first, it means that when you're choosing when C is choosing where to put the Chronomicon trigger, it means she's far less likely to choose the Cheshire Cat, because you always want to choose one of the ready challenges and just reduce the number of challenges that turn. So what you're doing there essentially is buying yourself a damaged Cheshire Cat in play. So next turn, it's there with some damage on it, ready to go.
Here's a question. If you bounce the Cheshire Cat back to hand and it's boosted, which bear in mind takes the top card from the top of your deck, does that card that's been top deck go back to your hand?
Yes, it does. They move together.
Interesting.
Yes, so yeah, that can be a drawback for returning the boosted cards as well.
Wow.
And some of the decks that play these boost cards actively try to do that.
Now, there's really no way for Adam to get rid of the Emerald Chronomicon, is there?
No. The short answer is no.
The short answer is no.
It has, but he's sort of close to turning the corner here. Elsa's one of the cards that is almost good enough in this situation, because you don't want to, it's going to exert something, it has rush. When it keeps getting bounced back to your hand every turn, you're almost happy to just say, okay, well, I'll keep playing it every turn. Problem is ink restriction. Currently, replaying Elsa every turn is not a good enough turn for Adam. So, as he develops ink further, we can start to see he really needs to be putting 2-3 characters in play per turn. 3 is kind of the perfect number, because it means you're always going to challenge, get one bounced, challenge again. And
schon. Er sagt mal wieder zu bouncen, aber es geht halt schon in die Tinte. Also, dieses Chronomicon, man denkt so, ja, diese 2-1-Drops werden nie 5 Floor machen. Aber doch.
I think this is playing into the advantage of what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You don't want to bounce the Elsa back, but you also don't want to bounce the Cheshire Cat.
Exactly.
Wow.
Was doch, die Cat kannst du doch super bouncen, warum nicht? Dann kommt sie halt wieder ins Spiel. Ist ja nicht so, als ob es, die hat ja keinen Comes-to-Play-Trigger. Aber sie bounced ihre eigene Karte. Das finde ich mega strange, weil die ja ready gewesen ist. Ich hätte, glaube ich, lieber die Cat gebounced.
But really at a disadvantage right now. Admittedly, C has now had their board completely cleaned.
C opting to return Ursula to their own hand with the Emerald Chronomicon there, and you can bounce your own cards with it, which is often very relevant if you just want to return them to hand, if they have a good on-play ability like Ursula, if you want to just bring some things back, keep them safe so you can deploy them together next turn and try to make sure you're putting multiple things forward so that an Elsa isn't so impactful and doesn't do quite as much against you. But now we start to see Adam really utilise that ink and put all those little things that have been coming back to hand continuously just into play at once.
Then we do also see
Ja, das wird er wahrscheinlich noch gewinnen. Hat er really 0 Lore? Es kann sein, ne?
And with the double Calhoun being brought out as well, we might really.
Aber man muss ja auch mal was machen. Was ist denn da die Strategy? Sie hat ja diese Ursula, oh, jetzt noch Tramp 7 Drop. Aber wieder Ursula, wird die jetzt noch was abwerfen? Weiß sie es schon? Ne, sie weiß, dass der Gegner, ich weiß nicht, ob sie das wusste, aber der Gegner hatte nichts und jetzt weiß sie es.
Is that 6? My maths has suddenly got terrible. 7. There's currently 7 ink for Adam, which means actually this is a really good turn with Genie coming in. Was that Malicious Mean and Scary? No, it can't be Malicious Mean and Scary. It's straight from a Raging Fire.
Yep.
So Genie's going to come down. We'll get the draw.
Yeah, and Adam firmly in control of this game now. Somehow finding a way to turn the corner against an Emerald Chronomicon he has no way to remove. It's one of the things about the Chronomicon. It is phenomenally powerful when you are ahead in the game. As soon as you're behind, it does not look as good.
No, it does not. So now we're going to see straight for Raging Fire, straight on.
And Adam really doesn't mind what gets returned. With the Chronomicon trigger here, bounce anything back, I'll just continue to play stuff.
And then a lot of questing happening here. Goodness me, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more, 5 more. Who cares? It's a lot of questing.
Yeah, and it becomes very hard from this point for C to come back into the game.
That is true.
That's one thing that might sort of keep the dream alive a bit. Lady going to return 2 characters that cost 2 or less to hand. So grab a Webby, grab a Daisy.
This is actually a really great play.
Yeah. Ink the Webby straight away so we can play the Daisy.
Now, Adam really needs to find a way to get rid of those characters because that's questing for 4 next turn.
Yep.
So that could be really bad. Let's see what Adam currently has in hand. Genie
There's a Madam Mim and a Cobra. But with a Cobra, Adam could be getting pretty close to ending the game here, but I don't think he's quite in range.
We've got that 4-cost Demona there as well. Ooh, I think this is just it's gonna be questing central here.
Yep.
Let me do the maths. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Wow, so that's put him up to 19, hasn't it?
Let's see.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then there's a Cobra.
That's game.
Yep, game to Adam.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a display from Adam there. Really well played by Cedo. We got to see the Emerald Chronomicon really doing what it needs to do.